All right, a little mini episode here. Not a real episode of the Hardline Sports Talk, but just wanted to hop on and, discuss what's going on in the world of sports. Gonna be no episode this week. Some prior engagements for JM and I, not able to hop on the mics this week, but I'm excited to talk a little sports. Here go 20, 25 minutes or so. I want to hit on obviously Stefon Diggs. He is no longer a Buffalo Bill. He's with the Texans. And of course, baseball. I mean, baseball has started and it's fully here. Definitely want to talk about the Yankees and the Mets and a couple of other hot starts within Major League Baseball. But let's start here, I think, with the biggest news of the day. That's Stefon Diggs. Diggs is now a Texan. And, all off season long, for CJ Stroud's case and for the Houston Texans, I thought, it was important for the Texans to go out there and get a legitimate wide receiver number one. Now, I'm not discrediting what Nico Collins did last season because Collins was really good. Okay, and I got into a little bit of a Twitter war with some Eagle fans. I don't know how it ended up being that way, but we were discussing, who was better, Jalen Hurts and CJ Stroud. And on that tweet, I had mentioned, well, CJ Stroud had some weak weapons, some mid weapons, excuse me. I didn't say weak, mid weapons. And that's not true. I mean, Nico Collins was legit last year. Now, I think for this Texan team to want to go over the top and want to get to where they want to go to, and that is eventually winning a Super Bowl, they needed a number one wide receiver. Now, could Collins develop into that? Sure. I don't think Tank Dell could, but I don't think it's a sure deal that Nico Collins turns into a number one wide receiver. I think he's a really solid number two guy, though. Now you slot in Diggs, who, listen, Diggs, his production, we know about, we understand what Stefon Diggs is, right? I mean, he's been a little bit of a problem lately in that locker room. I don't think that's a secret. And I'd love to know what happened with this relationship with Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen. I'd love to know. I mean, you see these videos, you see them, interacting with each other, early on when Diggs had gotten there, and they seemed like the best of friends. And all of a sudden that relationship went to crap somewhere. And I wonder what it is. I really do wonder what happened there in Buffalo. But, Diggs has become a problem in the locker room. He's, always talking offline. He's always on social media. And, I think that got to a lot of people within Buffalo. And ultimately, he's moved for not much. I mean, a second round pick in 2025 for the Texans, that's a no brainer. And one thing about the Bills is that they didn't have much depth at that position. I mean, Gabe Davis was inconsistent the last couple of seasons. They had Diggs, and what else did they have? Really, like the tight end Kincaid. They've had Knox for a couple of years, but ultimately, this team did not have much depth at that wide receiver position, and they were relying on Diggs a lot. And now Diggs, who, listen, he's up there in age, had a lot of targets, didn't, really see it with the yards there, although he did have, what do you have, 1,300 yards last year. So statistically, he still had a nice season, but it wasn't as much as you would have thought, especially with the way they were targeting him towards the end of the season. But either way, for Diggs now to go to a situation where they're deep at wide receiver. I mean, they are deep. I mean, people forget about Tank Dell too. They have Tank Dell coming back. Dalton Schultz had a nice year for CJ Stroud in his rookie year. They had Joe Mixon. They're going to be able to run the ball. And for a team now that is able to retain both, obviously, their coach, but their offensive coordinator, that's big. That's big for a young quarterback. So we saw what it did to Josh Allen. And, after his second year of really showing the league what he is, he loses Dayball and, his numbers dropped off a little bit. No doubt about it. And he'll admit it. He admits how important Dayball was to that team and to his development. So Slowick stays there another year. That's big for Stroud. I expect this team to compete big time. They have two great edges now. They had Danielle Hunter, obviously Will Anderson last season. They still have their second round pick this year. Remember, they moved back in this year's draft with the Vikings a couple of weeks back. I like where the Texans are headed because I thought they needed a receiver. Now they could probably use that second round pick on a lineman, beef up the offensive line, and protect CJ Stroud a little bit more. But they got weapons, and they're going to be able to score. This is a team that should absolutely be the favorite to win their division, have a home playoff game. Weaker division, In terms of the AFC, it might be challenging if you look at some of the NFC divisions, but this in the AFC is going to be considered a weak division. The Texans should absolutely win it. And Stroud, I think I may have Stroud, farther ahead than many people do in terms of ranking these quarterbacks. I'm very high on CJ Stroud, and that might sound crazy, but I have him over guys like Jalen Hurts. And that's why, I'm in Twitter arguments with Philadelphia Eagle fans at the moment. I think he's better. What he did in his rookie season was that impressive with an offensive line and weapons at times, especially with the injuries they had, and a rookie coach and a rookie coordinator. That's incredibly impressive the year he had. So I'm high on these Texans. They absolutely should win their division. They have a home playoff game. We'll see what happens when they get to the postseason. For Buffalo, if there's a year to need a wide receiver, it's this one, right? If you're Buffalo. If there's a year to need a receiver, it's this one. So they have some draft picks. They'll absolutely use that on a receiver. They could also go ahead and trade for a couple of guys that are available. T. Higgins is available. Blanking on the other guy that I saw Ayuk is possibly available. Though I don't think he's going to get moved ultimately. I think John Lynch is going to make the right decision and pay Ayuk. But Ayuk could be available if they wanted. I think they stand pat. I think they draft a couple of guys that kind of rebuild that room. They like Shakir over there. They signed Curtis Samuel. I think they'll be just fine. And by the way, I see a lot of Jeff fans. Oh, the Bills, they cut down. Listen, they made some cuts on defense, sure. They replaced a couple of those guys right away, though. They got this draft. They'll be just fine. If Josh Allen is the quarterback of that team, guess what? I'm picking the Bills to win that division. I don't care what happens. I don't care that the Jets have Hassan Reddick. I don't care that the Jets rebuilt this offensive line. What the Bills have showed you the past couple of years is still the team to beat in that division, okay? Even in what people considered a down year, they fire the offensive coordinator in the middle of the season. They still go out there and win the division. So I'll take the Bills still today, April 3rd. I'll take the Bills to win the AFC East. The Jets, they've had a good offseason. I'm not going to deny that. But Josh Allen's the best player in the division. Best player in the division. I'm taking him to win that division. So they'll make some improvements in the draft. I got to look and see how much money they have to spend. I'm sure it's not much at the moment, but Bills will be fine. I think the Bills will win the division still. Nothing else in football right now. The draft, obviously, less than a month away. It's draft month now. Kind of quieted down on that talk a little bit. Baseball season's back up now and going. In terms of who I think is going to trade up, I still think Minnesota is going to trade up and grab one of these guys. I said it privately to a friend a couple of weeks ago. I believe that J.J. McCarthy is going to be taken in the top 3. I don't think Washington takes him. I think now people have shifted their beliefs into thinking that Washington's going to take Jaden Daniels at 2. And I think I'm starting to believe that as well. The guy that falls in this draft might be Drake May. That plays in favor big time for the Minnesota Vikings, for the New York Giants. Though that's a quarterback I think both of those teams would mortgage the future to go up and get. We'll see what happens, though. Arizona, they're going to have a lot of choices. Arizona needs that number 1 wide receiver, though. So the one advantage I think Giant fans we have here is that the Giants are still in a spot at 6 where if Arizona wanted to trade back, if New England wanted to trade back possibly, they could still get one of those elite weapons, one of those top 3 receivers, or Bowers if that's who, your heart desires. You can still get that guy at 6, moving down from 3 or 4. You go down to 11 with Minnesota, you can't. You're not getting one of those guys. So that's why I think the Giants have a little bit more of an advantage in terms of this season's draft to make the trade up. I think they'd rather stay at 6, but we'll see what happens. Time for baseball here. We'll talk baseball. My Mets, we'll get to them in a second. I don't even know why. I was going through my hair so long, and I was like, oh, what hat am I going to wear? I wore a Giants hat all day to school, a San Francisco Giants hat, and I put the Met on right now. It goes good with the sweatshirt. But either way, get to the Mets in a minute. The Yankees. How about those Yankees? I mean, this Yankees team, truly, they're impressive, and they're fun to watch. They are absolutely fun to watch. Now, you go and you beat your hated rival, the Houston Astros, sweep them in 4 games. It is incredibly difficult to sweep a team 4 games. The Yankees did that to a team that is very good. Very good. Came from behind in most of those games. Okay? They had to rely on their bullpen a lot because their starters didn't go deep into some of these games. What the Yankees did against this Astros team truly was impressive. And they did it without their best player, or whoever you want to say their best player is. I don't know. I still think it's Judge, and they did it without Judge. And by the way, Aaron Judge, listen, best power hitter in baseball, not discrediting him. He has had some struggles in the postseason. His numbers aren't great. And then they pull up his numbers against Houston in his career. Not just in Houston, against Houston in his career. Terrible. Under it is 700 OPS, might be under that at this point now. I saw the stat on Friday. The Apple TV broadcast pulled it up. He is not good against that Houston Astro team, but I digress. They still win the series. Everybody besides Verdugo and everybody besides Judge in that series really pulled together offensively. Now, defensively, they were great. We'll get to that in a second. But offensively, everybody had a hand other than those two, and they were carried mostly by Juan Soto, Oswaldo Cabrera, and Anthony Volpe, who were all off to absolutely fantastic starts. Now, Soto is incredible. The one thing that I haven't had a player like this, right? I mean, the closest thing in my fandom with my team that I've seen is DeGrom. And sure, did I go around saying, how good is this guy? How great is this guy? But we all know how great he is. It's a figurative speech. When these Yankee fans are talking about Juan Soto as if they've just discovered him, guys, Soto's been in the league for 5 years now. He's been in this league for 5 years, and I can tell you with a straight face that he's been a top 5 player in the league for years now. You didn't discover him. You didn't rediscover. You didn't invent the wheel here, okay? Juan Soto has been fantastic. Before he got here, he'll be fantastic after. And if he stays, he'll be fantastic. And by the way, he looks like a Yankee. The fact that anybody thinks this guy's leaving, that's nonsense. He'll get $500 million. Hal will pay it up, and that'll be the end of it. But these Yankee fans, they discovered Juan Soto. But I digress. He's unbelievable. And, whether it's working these counts, whether it's hitting the ball the other way, just getting a single, we know the power he has, moving guys over defensively in right field. There were questions when they traded for him. Not only how good is he in right field, but how long is he going to be able to play the outfield for? And that will be questions we'll answer in the offseason. But this opening week, man, he was fantastic in the outfield. Absolutely fantastic in the outfield. So he's answered every question. He's answered every bell. He's clutch as all hell, one of the most clutch players in the league. He showed that this weekend. He shows that on Sunday when Gleyber Torres steals second base and he just pokes the ball the other way on a bad pitch from Hader. Hader gets him to chase. He just pokes that ball in the left field. Unbelievable hitting. And he just looks, he feels, this team has a different feel. They feel confident. They feel like they could beat anybody on any given night. I'm watching that game Tuesday night. They're down 6-0. I mean, they're down 3-0 all game. Then they're down 6-0. But down 3-0 all game. It's not a big deficit, but at times, even when you're winning like that, you kind of think, oh, a loss is coming. Not with that team last night. You feel like there's a chance every single night. That's how good they are. Now, the pitching might be a different story. They might be a different story. I mean, Rodon was good in the finale here against Arizona. And by the way, going to Arizona and taking 2 out of 3 after doing what you did to your arch rival Houston Astros, that's a big deal. You face Zach Gallen. You face Merrill Kelly, they're 2 frontline guys. That's a good lineup they got. Solid bullpen. That's a good team that they just went out there, won 2 out of 3. Haven't played at home yet. Went from Florida to Houston to Arizona. That's impressive. And their starting pitching was better in this series, but they didn't go deep into games in Houston. They didn't. They relied on that bullpen heavily, and the bullpen kept them in these games where they came from behind. And the finale, man, was great. And they finally got something offensively out of Judge. They finally got something offensively out of Alex Verdugo. and they were fantastic. Now, the one thing this team has done, they've stolen bags and they've played great defense. Give Verdugo credit, man. How many big plays did he make against Houston? How many big plays in the outfield did he make? Where you're like, wow, that was a good play from our left fielder, which you haven't seen a very long time from this team. I mean, they've needed a quality left fielder, not even offensively, because we know he'll hit. We know what Verdugo's going to give you, and he's going to be solid offensively for this team. I have no doubt about it. But defensively, he's very good out there, and that's big time for a team that has had nothing. No offense, no defense out there. They now have a quality defensive team in that outfield. I still don't like the fact that Judge plays center. And I know he plays the position very well, but I just hate the look of it. He's so big. He's not fragile, but you almost feel like he is. I don't want that guy out in center, but I digress. When they put Grisham in there, Grisham's one of the better defensive center fielders in the league anyway. And then you know what you got with Soto. I mean, you see what you got from Soto. Not the greatest arm, although on opening day, he makes that big play to gun down the runner at home. But they're incredible. And let me say this. Friday afternoon at Yankee Stadium, this has got to be one of the most highly anticipated opening days in a very long time for this team. The electricity that's going to come from that building on Friday afternoon against another rival, Toronto Blue Jays. That's going to be massive. Soto making his home debut. Stroman gets the ball. That's going to be something, man. At home in the Bronx, Soto makes his debut. This team goes 6-1 to start the year. There's a real feel that, hey, bring us anybody. And rightfully so. With the way they played, rightfully so. Bring us your best shot, please. Please. They're great. They're exciting. They're fun to watch. I hope they continue because it's a good brand of baseball in this city. Volpe looks really good. And listen, it's easy at times to pick these. All right, he had this slow start, to his rookie year. He wasn't that great. He wins a Gold Glove, but offensively, there were times where he was really struggling. He comes back this year. He looks really good at the plate, disciplined at the plate. His swing is a flatter path. They keep talking about flatter path to the plate. I heard Cole on the S broadcast last night. He's right. Volpe looks great, and the home runs are going to come with him. But he's capable of hitting high 200s, close to 300, giving you an 800 OPS. Can he get to 30 home runs? Maybe. 20, 25 home runs. Steal 30 bags, 40 bags a year. Play a Gold Glove shortstop. That's what he's here to do. That's what this kid's here to do. He's a special player. Really like what you see from Anthony Volpe. And Oswaldo Cabrera, one of the bigger surprises, they trade for John Birdie the day before the season starts because LeMahieu's going to miss some time. They trade for Birdie as insurance. You play everywhere, and that's a really good sign. It's a really good bench trade there to have a guy that can play all these positions. He's pesky. He steals bases. He's good defensively at some spots. It's a good trade for a guy to have on your bench. But Oswaldo Cabrera is just keeping that job of the way he hit. So, unbelievable from this Yankee team. Unbelievable start. And I cannot wait to see what Yankee Stadium looks like on Friday afternoon against the Jays. All right, to the Mets. I mean, first off, this team can't get anything right in terms of these rain delays. I mean, it feels like the last couple of years, man. I love Steve Cohen. I don't think it's his fault. But since Cohen has bought the team, they've had some brutal situations with keeping fans in the ballpark and then not calling games and then calling it late, and they had the fans there all night. They've had a couple of these situations now, and I don't think it was as bad Tuesday night, Wednesday they called it early. So I'm going to play a doubleheader while I'm recording this tomorrow, Thursday. They're 0-4 right now. And, they don't look good. They don't look it anywhere. Defensively, this is what this team was supposed to do. Defense, bullpen, be pesky, score some runs, hopefully steal some bags, put pressure on the opposing pitchers, and hopefully drive some guys in. They haven't done that. They haven't scored runs. They had one game where they really looked good offensively. Other than that, it's been a lot of nothing. Nimmo, McNeil, Lindor, what a 3 for 36, I think the stat is. Couple of walks mixed in there. Absolutely putrid starts. They each have a hit. That's it. Putrid starts from guys at the top of your lineup. Putrid start from a guy, McNeil, you expect to bounce back and hit 300, hit 290 instead of 270 last year. It's really all he does. Sick of McNeil, man. I'm really sick of McNeil. And he made the team look bad and the organization look bad with that Hoskins crap last week. We didn't record since then. I'll just say this. Did Hoskins go in late? Sure. Is Hoskins a piece of crap? In my mind, yes. But did McNeil put himself in a good situation? No. Was it legal? Yes. He just doesn't like that he's playing the game hard. Grow up, McNeil. Grow up. That's all I'm going to say. I watched all the analysis on it. I looked at what illegal slides are and what legal slides are, and Hoskins was within the rules. He did a good job. He broke up the double play. He's good at that. Not that he's dirty. He's good at that. So I'm sick of McNeil. I think they're going to trade him anyway, whether they had a good year or a bad season this year. I thought McNeil was on his way out. There's just no more room for him with the guys they have coming up in the next, hopefully, towards the end of this season into next. But McNeil's a guy that's gone. He's not hitting. The team's not hitting. Pitching, I mean, it hasn't been a problem yet. I mean, Severino, getting hit around the other day, sure, whatever. The pitching hasn't been a problem. Quintana was okay. Gave you 4 2/3. You'd like him to extend it a little bit more. It's opening day, whatever. You only give 2 runs. What was Sunday? Who pitched? McGill. He comes out of the game. He looked okay, though. He only gave up a run or two. And then Minaya on Monday night against Detroit was absolutely fantastic. Took a no-hitter into the 6th inning. Comes out 6 scoreless. You can't ask for more from him. We haven't seen a full turn through. We'll see Hauser tomorrow making his debut. Pitching hasn't really been a problem. Bullpen has kind of kept them in some of these games here, other than Tonkin the other night. But that was a whole nother story in that 10th inning when they gave up 5 runs and lost. It's offensively. And I saw this take. From a host in New York City on the radio. And it really got me thinking, and it's true. For years now, even going back to that 2022 season when the Mets won 101 games, okay? I sat there and I watch all these other teams with the Dodgers, the Braves, the Yankees, all these good teams, right? These successful teams. And I say they get guys in scoring position. And you just have no doubt they're going to either move the guy over, he's going to steal a bag, they're going to bring him in, he's going to get a big hit here. And I'm like, why can't that happen for my team? And it's the same guys, it's the same core group. It's the same group of McNeil, Lindor, Nimmo, Alonso. You want to throw Marte in there, fine. It's that same group of 5 guys there that just consistently come up short. Consistently can't get that guy in from second base. Consistently, bases loaded, 1 out, can't get a run in. Can't draw a walk in a scenario. Can't hit the sac fly. Grounding into a double play. Can't get the guys home in scoring position. And it's like, not that it's the team, it's the players. It's the players. And it's the same core group of guys from that team a couple of years ago to now. From 2023 to now. Just absolutely frustrating offensively. And nothing's going to change. It's not going to, you're not going to have the same players here and all of a sudden they're going to be clutch and they're going to drive guys in with runners from scoring position. It's not going to happen. And so I'm like tricking myself. Us fans, we're tricking ourselves, and the thing is going to happen. Maybe some of these young guys step up and do it. Maybe Alvarez, who's played really well to start. Maybe Beatty, who's looked better in the first 4 games of the season. He picks it up. But what the hell are the chances, man? These guys are unclutched. That's what they are. These 4 guys, these 4 main guys here. The 4 main culprits that have been here the entire time of losing. Lindor, Nimmo, Alonso, McNeil. It's not going to change with them. It's not. And I'm getting to the point where, you know what? I'm not mad at Alonso. Alonso's been great. But I'm getting to the point where you start hearing the numbers they're throwing around for the potential contract he gets at the end of the year. Walk, please, walk. Why do I want average defensive first baseman that might not hit 270 anymore, hit 240, 230, hit 40 bombs, but he's on clutch? Why do I want that? I'm asking myself, what team would want that? So they're just frustrating as all hell, and I don't think anything's going to change. I really don't think anything's going to change with this team. I thought they could be pesky. I thought they could be one of these teams, play good small ball, pressure pitchers, get guys into scoring position, move guys over, and bring them in and be pesky and hit a few bombs between, JD Martinez coming up. We forget he's coming up whenever he's ready, by the way. But it's like you think you can hit a few bombs with McNeil, with Alvarez and Alonso and Martinez and whoever else wants to join in there. I don't have the confidence. And it's not that they lost 4 games in a row because it's early and that they could get back in. They can get back into it. And I could be wrong. I might be wrong. They can get back into this race. But it's not that they lost 4 games. It's the way they looked and the way it's been for 3 seasons now. That's what it is. And it just looks more of the same. You cannot judge a team. You cannot judge a team because their top 3 hitters go 3 out of their best 4 hitters go 3 for 36 to start the year. You cannot judge a team and say, well, that's what they are. Of course they're not. Those guys are going to hit. Lindor's going to hit. Nimmo's going to hit eventually. McNeil, I don't know if McNeil's going to hit, but those 2 guys are going to hit. They're going to get on base. They're going to steal bags. Well, Lindor might. Nimmo's not. But those guys are eventually going to hit. Martinez is eventually going to get here. So there's the optimism, sure, but it's that same feeling of these guys are not going to bring guys home. They're not going to be pesky. They're not going to steal bases. That's the problem I have. And this new wave of baseball with the new rules and whatnot, I don't have the confidence. I think the Mets have the bullpen. They probably have the bullpen to do it. Diaz looks like he's back to form. I don't know if they have enough innings out of their starters. I don't. I'd like to see a couple of guys come up. I'd like to see them bring up their top prospect. Jose Buto is going to come up for the doubleheader, and he's going to go back down. They can't bring him back up until April 12th because there's some BS with bringing guys up and down. He's on the floor. I don't know what the hell the problem is. It's not the Mets. It's a league rule. But those are guys I'd like to see up, give them some opportunities. But to say I have confidence, and listen, my confidence level in the team was 84, 85 wins, sneak in. That's what I thought. And it just looks like more of the same from the 2023 season. So we'll see if those guys pick up. Dodgers off to a nice start. The Braves obviously off to a very nice start. Phillies slow start. See the story with the Phillies today. So I don't know if I got to check right now if they started playing. So it's Wednesday right now. They got Cincinnati in town. They had bad weather last night. And there's bad weather tonight in the Northeast. And they're trying to play this game. And they started the game. So they're playing. I don't know if they're going to get the whole game in, but they started playing. If they didn't play tonight, they can't play tomorrow. They both have a scheduled off day. Cincinnati would have to come back to Philadelphia on a off day. They both have mutual off day. They both have later in the year to play this one game because the Phillies rented the space out for a wedding tomorrow night, Thursday night. Unbelievable. Thursday all day, rented out, wedding. So good job by the Phils. We know how and then the Reds broadcast killing them. They're like, we know how, April weather is in the Northeast, and can you do that on a mutual off day for both teams? So the baseball is hot and heavy. Football, obviously, the draft coming up. The Hardline Sports Talk will be back next week. Can't wait for that. We'll talk NFL draft. We'll talk all the baseball. We'll see where the Mets are. We'll see where the Yankees are. The Mets will be in Atlanta next week. Oh, my God. And the Yankees will continue winning, man. That's what they're going to do. This is going to be a really fun season for them. It's going to be a fun season for the league. Baseball is back, and very excited for that. So make sure you're checking out all our social media pages, liking and subscribing here on YouTube, everywhere, BTO Media, liking and subscribing everywhere on social media and YouTube. We appreciate the support. Thank you very much.